Welcome back, everyone. Today is the 27th of March, 2026, and we're living under the canopy of a surreal reality because the paradigm is about to shift, and it's radically going to shift. When these things, it's like a tsunami. You have to wait for the tsunami sometimes. Not that you want to wait for it, but when it does hit, it'll hit. All we're doing right now is waiting for it to hit, for it to make its impact across the world. It's in certain countries, it's already making its impact on the oil situation, on the natural gas situation, on the food situation. But wait till it hits this country. Then it will really come home, and people will really understand where we're at. Because a lot of people right now don't. And I'm going to name this video something like, got oil? Do you have oil? And if anybody knows your Bible, it says, in chapter 25, it says, and talks about the 5 wise virgins and the 5 unwise virgins that either have their oil, have it right now, or don't have it. And this goes into other avenues of prophecy as well, for the end times. That time, to have that oil in your lamp, is right now. Because it's already dark out. There's no denying that. You can watch the news, and then you can do your own research on the news, the real news behind the news, and look for the actual news. It's out there. It's out there. And we all need to have that oil in our lamps, which is right now pandemic of the illustration of the 5 wise virgins. We need to have that oil in our lamp. Today I got the unction to talk about this. The oil in our lamps. Because either we have the oil in our lamps or we don't. Either we're prepared for the ensuing darkness that's enveloping the world as we speak, or we're not ready. Most people are not going to be ready. But those few that have that oil in your lamps will be ready. You will know that this has been long prophesied for hundreds, actually a couple thousand years now already, that this day was coming. This day is here. We are literally seeing the fulfillment of the 5 wise virgins, or unfortunately, the 5 unwise virgins. Either a person has that spiritual oil in their lamps, or they don't. Now let's talk, let's identify the players. Who's on first? Who's on second? So on and so forth. We need to understand the logistics of the identities of the entities that are in the game. And the game is being played now, and it's winner take all. Actually, there's not going to be any winners. Everyone is already losing right now. The way things are going, everyone is already losing. They just don't realize it yet. The magnitude of these things that are happening. Now, with the 5 wise virgins, they kept their oil in their lamps. The oil in their lamps, they kept it trimmed. They kept it lighting. It was providing light for those in darkness. Now their counterparts didn't have the oil in their lamps. Their counterparts were thinking, well, we support the entity known as the people of the 6-pointed star. And we went to go fight this war, this futile war, under the understanding that we would be fighting it for them. Their hegemony, their world conquest, and their pseudo-peace. When they could have had it. They could have had that peace. But no, they're not satisfied. But it's all beside the point. Why is it beside the point? Because it was predicted. We can talk what if and should have done this and could have done that and all those kind of variables all day long. But the fact of the matter is that we're going through it right now. There's no denying it. There's no way you can go back over 4 weeks and say, no, I don't want this. Unfortunately, none of us can do that. We're already in it. The 6-pointed star people are the chief architects of this whole dilemma. We are providing their muscle. We are providing their in warfare, modern warfare, no matter what warfare, tactics win battles, but strategy wins wars. Now, we may have some of the tactics in place where it looks like the reasonable facsimile thereof, like we're winning the war. But are we? Because if we're not adhering to any kind of strategy, and we don't have it, we don't have the strategy to win the war. It's more like make it up as you go along, and along the way you're going to be OBE. In the military it's called overcome by events. You're going to be OBE, overcome by events. So all these fake outs, with the troops, and we're going to do this, and we're going to take over that, and yada, 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 it doesn't amount to a hill of beans if we can't extricate, pull out, off-ramp, however you want to paraphrase it, if we can't get out of the dilemma. There is no turning back. It would be nice. Discretion is the better part of valor, as the old saying goes, but are we going to do that? No, we're not. And you're thinking, well, these things and those things, are not right, well, we can argue about those parameters all day long again. But it doesn't matter, because this is prophecy. Now, who is the false prophet for this in place of diminishing the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross? Anti in place of Christ. Who's their false prophet? Would it happen to be the evangelicals that have put themselves under this false umbrella that they'll be out of here? So they don't really care about who beats up who or who bombs who, because they're all under the guise that they'll be out of here. A mistaken identity that doesn't equate with modern, biblical, proper theology. They're not going to be, they're here. This stuff is going on right now. No third temple is being rebuilt. There's no 7-year peace agreement. There's no Antichrist on the scene, is there? But they'll tell you that all day long. Where are those elements? Where did they go? Because they're not on the scene. Well, for as long as you think that those things are coming, you are operating in darkness. When you should be preparing yourself and keeping that lamp lit when it's getting dark out, which is now. It's super dark out in the world when it comes to peace. The apple cart has been turned over. It's never going to be put back together again. That's what we need to understand. So for all of these people out there that think, well, they're the chosen people, the 6-pointed star. If they're so chosen, why do they need us? Unless it falls perfectly in line with the fact that they are acting in the capacity of diminishing the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross, since they don't acknowledge that. Well, they're going to build a third temple. Why? Where's the scripture in verse for that, for the third temple? When Jesus Christ told the Sanhedrin that your temple is left unto you desolate. In his sacrifice, when he hung on the cross and said, it is finished. It's finished. It was finished. Forever shall be finished. Once and for all. One sacrifice. Oh no, the temple will be rededicated, and then the Antichrist will break the treaty in the middle of the 7 years. And yeah, we can talk about Daniel 9:24-27 all day long. But you're not going to pay any attention to it, because hardly anybody has up until this point. About your skewed prophecy about the 7-year peace treaty. It was Jesus Christ who fulfilled all those elements that we talk about all the time. To finish the transgression, make an end to sin, make reconciliation for iniquity, bring in everlasting righteousness, seal up the vision and the prophecy, and to anoint the most holy or holy of holies. It was Jesus Christ who did that. He was sacrificed in the middle of Daniel's last 70th week. Why can't people understand that? So when you're thinking that he'll be out of here, see, it doesn't say that at all. The wedding feast that Christ talked about in Matthew chapter 25, with the 5 wise virgins and the other 5 unwise virgins, the 5 unwise virgins were not prepared. They were thinking, well, I can sleep on this because I know I'm going to be out of here. I'll be spared. Really? Look what's going on in the world right now. Are you spared right now? Or are you still here? You're still here. And the Lord doesn't come till midnight. And he doesn't raise up the dead until that last day. John 6:39, 40, 44, and 54. That he will raise him up at the last day. So where do you evangelical people, you Zionists, where do you get off thinking that you'll be out of here? If the Lord comes in the middle of the night, in the middle of darkness, in the middle of chaos, and you're sleeping, thinking you're going to be out of here, and you're not even prepared. The most important way to get prepared is spiritually, as spiritual Israel. But you don't want to do that? Oh no. No, where all races are included, all people. You don't want to do that? Oh no, they're the chosen people, the 6-point star, they're the chosen people. Well, you know something? In Matthew chapter 24, it talks about immediately after the tribulation of those days, that the Lord comes back. He doesn't come twice. There's no delineation between a first second coming and a second coming, which should actually be a third second coming. No. So he comes back for what's left of his church after they've been tried, just like Zechariah 13:8-9, where it talks about that they shall be tried like silver and gold, tried and refined as silver and gold. Zechariah 13:8-9. But people don't want to pick up on that. No. And they are acting in the capacity as the false prophet for the 6-pointed star. This has major implications. And yeah, we know in that day that Damascus shall lie a ruinous heap. Isaiah 17:1. Oh yeah, this thing is going to get very, very interesting. And if we don't have that final thought, if we don't have that oil in our lamps, how are we going to be able to encourage other people? How? That's the thought that I want to leave with you. Get that oil in your lamp. Get prepared to go through this. And try to help people. You know, you can't outgive God. Try to help people. Help them out. Because it's going to get interesting. And it's already ramping up as we speak. If you're remnant, stay remnant. Get this word out there. I love you guys. We'll talk soon.